Welcome to another episode of Aspiring Creator, where we talk about the random stuff that's been happening since last week. I talked about random stuff happening in the business. This is all the behind the scenes stuff of running a content creator's business slash channel, predominantly YouTube, of course, for those that know me. We also have Instagrams and TikToks and all the other things, which we're going to talk about, actually, because that's on the list for this week. So standard format, as always, if you are new to this podcast, which is also on YouTube and Spotify video and those kind of things, we basically talk about all the behind-the-scenes stuff that happened since last week's episode. And so I keep a list of things in my to-do list, which I run on TickTick, and then we just talk through them in a random order, because there's no form of organization or thought process that goes behind a lot of this, as you will find out. So the first thing for the list this week is, so we've been doing a load of changes to our Monday.com system, which is like our whole project management system. We put all of our videos into there, and then we have like separate projects for each video, or we had separate projects for each video. And it felt really good. It felt really organized. You can assign certain tasks to certain people, and you can track your time on it. And it is very good. It was very good. Is very good. But we are starting to try and use it less, because it's very easy to get, just drawn into like, oh, we can create a board for this and have all the list of everything. And particularly where we're starting to pull our team more in-house, there's less of a need to, like, we're almost using Monday as like a reminders, like to-do list, essentially. So, when we post the video, make sure you've done this, maybe make sure you tag this, make sure you've enabled monetization. It's like a whole long checklist. So rather than having all these sub boards and sub like tasks to do now, we're trying to condense everything into one master view within Monday, which is working really well so far. So, now we've just got columns for like, where's the link to the YouTube video? Where's the link to the blog post? Where's the link to the script? And even then we were using Google Docs for our scripts, and we're starting to pull those in-house into Monday's in-house. We're using Monday Docs instead of Google Docs. It's very early days with this, but we're starting to play around a lot more with it. And what got me onto this topic and why I wrote it down on my list was because, once again, Claude AI and all of its like MCP connectors, where you can connect it into Monday, connect it into Zero, you can connect it into like all the various systems. It hooks into YouTube itself. Just made that way easier. So we've created new columns to track like the brands we're working with, how much the brands are paying us, and contract terms and all these kind of things. So we created new columns, which then meant all the old stuff, all the old history was in the old columns. And so I just hopped onto Claude and basically said, can you just go and find this information from these old columns and just move it to the new columns? And that was things like the brand name, which was linked from a different database. It was the value of the sponsorship. And it was also the contract, like the physical PDF contract. Can you move those into the new fields, which are these new fields? And I tested it with like one or two first to make sure it didn't break anything and work properly. And that worked okay. And I was like, cool, go do the rest of them. And it was like 50 of them or something. And it just went through, and I could literally watch Monday as like it was creating the items and moving stuff across. It also did some very kind of clever things. Like, it's for some videos are sponsored by multiple brands. And it would then, like, to start off with, it was just taking the value of the sponsorship and halving it between, how many brands were on there. But then I noticed it started doing things like it would, last time you worked with this brand, they paid this much. Therefore, I'm going to allocate this much to this brand and this much to the other brand. And so it's kind of making almost like informed decisions on some of the copying work, which again was unexpected and quite a good surprise. And it would then remember those for like if they cropped up again. It's like, okay, cool, I'm going to do the same thing again here and do that value for that brand because that's like what they pay. So it's very, very good. The only problem we had was with some of the contracts, you couldn't then open them in Monday, and there might still be a few of them here and there that still aren't readable. But I need to go through and just click on those as well. And the reason why I was doing that is because within Monday I have a view. So we have one master schedule with all our videos listed, all the sponsors, how much it's worth, the dates of publishing, and like the links to everything else. Also links to the invoices as well. So once we've got the sponsor add in there, we have a link to the invoice for that sponsor, which is very useful. And then we have a finance projections view, which basically lets us see we have a monthly target for the amount of sponsorships we need to hit, and we can see whether we've hit those monthly targets. So that's why we have all that data inside of Monday. So yeah, Claude, once again, very, very cool, and going to be using it more. Speaking of that finance projections, so far we are smashing it this year. So far, we October, November, we've got about 50 grand's worth of brand deals, which is pretty awesome. Which are kind of also to be expected because this is very much still Apple season, busiest time of the year. Obviously, Q4 is like the approaching Christmas, Black Friday. You know, all the ad rates go up, so this is a very busy time of the year. It's when brands and brands are paying more for advertising because they want to put their budgets into Q4 because that's the holiday season when people spend the most money out of the year. And again, Black Friday when lots of discounts going on. We don't have much in for December and January. Those are kind of the quiet periods. And then it kind of kicks off again around about February at the moment, because that's when, the new Samsung S26 series will probably launch, or maybe January. They seem to be bringing it forward every year. This is there's not insider knowledge at all. This is me guessing, by the way. It's not like I have any informed information here. And speaking of which, we have hired our new editor. He's sat behind the camera here. He's been here a day, so it's very, very early days. And I also wrote a note to myself. I need to update the spreadsheet with all our costs, because when I say we need to hit 20 grand a month for sponsorship revenue, and then added to that we've got 5 grand from affiliates and 5 grand from YouTube AdSense roughly. That's what keeps the boat afloat, if that's the words. Keeps everything above board, and we can pay everyone what we pay everyone, and keeps everything going. But obviously we've had a few very, very good months, so that then covers off if we do have a quiet period in December and January. And I'm also kind of looking forward to having a quiet December and January, hopefully, because it has been a bit manic at the moment. A note to myself here, which was reminding me to slow down, which follows on perfectly from what I was just saying. Focus on making better videos. It is not quantity, it's quality. And I think this also follows on from VidSummit from last week, where lots of that, and particularly with the AI slop, there's nothing else you can call it other than AI slop at the moment. There's just so much of it around. People are churning videos out multiple videos a day just using AI tools, and they're just horrendous quality, not really well thought out. It is slop. It's rubbish slop. And so trying to focus on not going down to, because we're already doing this, but one good video per week, which gives us a full week to work on the video. Again, one of the reasons of having an in-house editor here is that we can start going we would be really cool if we had a shot of this for this part of the video. We can go and do that shot. Whereas at the moment, we still have our remote editor. He's still working with us. But we very much shoot all the footage. We send all our footage to him, and then we just wait and hope that the video that comes back is good. And it always is good. It's not been a problem. But having someone in-house, I just hope will mean that it gives us an extra thing we can do with our videos and the edits and the footage we can capture, and make sure the footage we capture is good. If things are overexposed, then we're literally offloading the footage straight away, and they can turn around and be well, that footage is crap, go and shoot it again. Maybe just drop the exposure or brighten it up and make the shots look a lot better. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. And we have one more week, I think, of this year where we've got 2 videos in 1 week, which frustratingly also lines up with, so next week I'm going to Prague for a press trip, which I don't think I'm allowed to talk about yet. I think I'll probably be allowed to post about it when I'm there. So probably at the time of you listening to this, I'll be on the trip, and I'll try and do a podcast on the trip when I'm there as well. I might even try and get a chance to sit down with some other creators that are on that trip. One of the, no, let me add that to the end of this. I'm gonna ramble otherwise. Cool. Okay. So yeah, that does cause problems. So I'm away on a press trip next week, and then the week after is half term. So the kids are off school. We're off to Center Parks, and then Legoland and all sorts. So there's a lot going on, and that means that we've shot 2 videos this week, and then I have Monday and Tuesday next week before I'm basically away for the best part of 2 weeks. And so I have 2 videos to shoot on Monday and Tuesday next week. And this is coming from someone that takes a day to script it and a day minimum to shoot it. So that's going to be fun. I have already scripted one of the videos because it's an Apple Watch buyer's guide video. But yeah, it's just I'd much rather have 1 video a week, because when we do have these things like the press trips and holidays, then you have to fit one extra video in, rather than now there's 4 videos we've shot in these last 2 weeks, which is just absolutely nuts. And again, we want to focus on like making the quality of our videos better. Following back to a few of the discussions I have with other creators, and I've mentioned on the channel before, there are certain creators that lean into the clickbaity aspect of things, and I really don't want to lean into that. I want to lean into like the quality and feeling good. That whole like you watch a video and it felt like a good video, and it's like uplifting and positive, and want to do more of that stuff. And yeah, just focus more on like storytelling. I think that's the main thing as well, like telling good stories. And off the back of the VidSummit event last week, that was one of the key highlights. Was one thing I feel like we're different on our channel is we can try and tell good stories about the tech. So that will then help us select, like, out of all the products we're featuring on the channel, if it's a product we can tell a good story about, then we can make a good video about it. Which is also part of the problem. Like I have you can't, it's out of view. Okay. There's an embargoed product just out of view. Which we have certain dates when we can show certain stuff with that, but I'm not sure it's a product that would do well on our channel. And so if I can find a good story around it, then it means we can make a good video around it. So and next on my list was, like I was saying, we've had a good few months for brand deals and sponsorships, and busy Apple season and everything. And it's like, what can this money bring to the company, like the channel? Like, who can I hire to make it better, or like improve the blog posts, or improve the podcast? Like I say, we've already outsourced a lot of the tools here. Can we look at better tools? I was looking at DaVinci editing consoles, because you can buy like the little keyboard editing stations and color grading stations, and Fairlight audio consoles and stuff. And again, if we're bringing stuff in house, it would be cool to have the best setup we can to do this kind of editing in house. So I'm definitely not shy about spending money if that means we can, again, like make better videos, better sounding videos, better colored videos. Funny thing, I was watching the studio Marquez Brownies, MKBHDs. Here they have like the studio channel, and obviously one of the biggest tech channels in the world. And they ran through their process for editing a video, and they got to like how they color their videos. And then the guys, the guy, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was employed to do like coloring. And I was like, okay, he's going to give some like drop some knowledge here, and show us how to like color grade his videos, and like how they make everything look great. And then it was basically, we just dropped this LUT onto our videos, and then I tweaked the colors a little bit. So they were using Tyler Stallman's, who's like an Apple kind of more predominantly Apple kind of person. He covers Apple products. He has a LUT that he's like pre-made, and so Marquez's channel applies that LUT to their videos, and then they just tweak the colors. So it's just another reminder that, like, as small creators, if you are kind of dabbling with like shooting in log and trying to color grade and those kind of things, you've got like channels that are big as Marquez Brownie that are just like slapping a LUT on and like doing a few tweaks. I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, we're still trying to look and see what we can do to make better videos, whether that's in the quality of the video themselves, whether that's audio equipment, video equipment, filters, lighting, all that kind of stuff, down to how do we can we spend money to come up with better ideas? Like, are there tools like the Outlier tools we can use to do that? And so we're kind of experimenting with where we can get our, I guess, like best return on investment from. Obviously, we want to put money in to get money out, kind of thing. This one was a question from, can't remember the guy's name. Nope. Harrison. So Harrison, this is the reply to your reply of my reply. A question on the last video, maybe a little video before that, we dropped on the channel. The question is, what type of video ROI measurement, example, leads, webinar signups, product page clicks, would you suggest actively pitching to B2B tech brand marketing teams instead of B2C style affiliate links to purchase the product? When selling within the tech industry, brands generally target IT managers, salespeople, instead of an individual sale. I currently pitch industry brand awareness to B2B when they don't have a specific desired outcome. Interesting question. So yeah, this is an interesting one. So I'll cover both things off actually, because it is an interesting topic. So with B2B, I find that lots of companies don't really, and particularly in the industry that I know you're in the tech industry, lots of companies don't really know what they're doing yet with like influencer style marketing. I spoke to Dell a while ago, and they really didn't understand how it worked. There's another MSP brand we're working at the moment, and they have zero clue about how like brand deals and working with influencers work. And they're still messaging me saying like, oh, hey, it'll be really great if we could post on LinkedIn for us. It'd be really great if you could post on Reddit threads for us. It's like you're kind of missing the point. Like, the audience we have is the YouTube channel. Let's post on the YouTube channel, and then from a brand awareness perspective, and this actually links into the next topic that I had, because we've just done a brand deal, posted a video a few days ago. It's done like 20,000 views, and the brand came back to say, "Oh, we've only had like one sign up from your thing. Like, this isn't good. What can you do for us? Like another free integration? Like you need to make it good for us." And my default response to this, whenever we've had it previously, is it's been 4 days. Like you're messaging, and I think the last time we had this was on like day 2, and they were like, the video's tanked, no performance, no clicks, like nothing's come through, and it was like the 24 hours after we posted it, and it's like, dude, like you've paid for a video that's living on YouTube for a year, and you're complaining after a day. And those videos for us always do like really, really well, like 3, 4, 500,000 views every single year throughout the year. You're not paying, it's not a pay-per-click. You're not putting money into a campaign and getting immediate return on your investment from people clicking on your links. And then obviously there's a certain percentage of that then converts to a product sale or a new client or whatever. You're paying for like organic, pretty much live on the platform forever content. The live on the platform forever content is interesting because YouTube have just introduced, or next year will be introducing their brand deals, whatever they call it, editable brand deals. So you can basically replace the brand deals you've dropped within your videos. So that's a note to be aware of if you are listening or watching. Then start looking at your contracts when you're working with brands. Say that you'll feature them within your video for 6 months or a year, because then that gives you the option after a year to either go back to that brand and say, do you want to renew and pay more to continue being in that video, or we'll simply swap you out with someone else who will want to pay for it. So that's worth doing. But yeah, in terms of like the B2B, it's brand awareness is always like the main thing for me. And I find businesses don't tend to track stuff, which is really silly because, big IT tech firms you would have thought would have learned how to track things. So for example, Keeper, I'll happily like talk about this one because it's always a fascinating one. Like Keeper, I have worked with Keeper, or had worked with Keeper for a very long time on the consumer password product. But I have referred so many businesses and MSPs and IT businesses to their Keeper MSP program. And those MSPs have then bought thousands of seats because, their clients plus, all the people they've rolled it out to, well over a few thousand. And Keeper, as far as they're concerned, I have never converted an MSP sale because their affiliate system isn't built to convert business sales. It's built to convert consumer sales. And so, like, when it comes to like, well, you're not converting very well for us, and it's like, well, I am. It's just you're not tracking any of that stuff properly. There's also the point that came off the back of the recent video where it's like you've converted one sale, and it's like you bought one integration in one video, and you're expecting like massive results for the very first time. And this is for a brand that is the first time they've appeared on the channel. And so viewers that are watching it they're going to have no clue who you are. Like, there's very little incentive to go and sign up with a completely fresh brand they've never heard of before, particularly when the deal is like 10% off, 20% off. There's no real incentive to get them to go and click on your link. To me, there's two things going on there. There's the incentive you've given isn't strong enough. Well, I guess there's 3 things. The incentive you've given isn't good enough. The product isn't good enough. Lack of interest from the viewer, or what have you. And also the third one is it's one integration. You're going to need 2, 3, 6. Like, you need multiple integrations so that the viewers get familiar with the brand's name and they keep coming back to watch your videos and go, oh, well, actually, no, I remember. Like, he's talked about them a few times now. Let's go and check them out now. Or it's that being top of mind again. As with any like business trying to sell themselves anywhere, it's being top of mind so that when someone does need the thing, they've been so familiarized with your name because you keep popping up in various places that they do go, oh yeah, I'm gonna try that now. I'm gonna sign up now because I'm ready. So it's about always being top of mind. And so buying one integration on one channel once is not like, you shouldn't expect like huge amount of results from that. And we do try and set expectations with a lot of our brand deals, particularly when we get asked for a single brand deal. We're like, well, multiple brand deals would perform better, you probably find. And actually, the ones that have repeats, bought repeat slots from us, they are always the one that way, way outperform any others. For us, brands like we worked with 1Password for many, many years, Magback for many, many years, those kind of brands where they get featured regularly, it just like compounds, much like investments and finances and things. Like the more things you have, then it just like adds to it speeds up. Similar to like YouTube growth, the more subscribers you have, the faster you grow because you just compounds that you're now bigger. And so that to get from like 0 to 1,000 is very, very slow. To get to 0 to 100,000 is relatively slow, but maybe a little bit faster. And then getting from like 100,000 to 200,000 was like half as long as it took to do the first one. So it compounds over time, and it gets very frustrating when people are like, did it once, disappointing, let's try someone else. It's like, no, try more with the same channel. And it also gives you a chance to look back on what you did and go, cool, how can we be better next time? Like, did the retention drop off? Can we work better on the retention to keep people interested in watching it all the way through? Can we work on the deal? Like, is there a better incentive we can give people? Maybe we just need to pitch some of the features slightly differently and how it benefits the viewers. There's always things you can do, and just having like a once and done approach is always the most frustrating because like, cool, now we've learned nothing, because it's very difficult to a lot of the time to transfer like learnings from one brand to another brand, because different products, different offers, different landing pages, there's just so many variables that you have no control over. Whereas if you have that one brand relationship, you can really start niching into like, oh, cool, well, last time we did this happened, so let's try and replicate that again, but maybe let's try testing this out instead, and different landing page, and you can really like try playing around with things. So that was a very rambly answer to your question. So to answer your question, what type of ROI measurement? So really there are there's two, is there three? There's definitely two like objectives. You've got brand awareness, which is just getting that brand's name in front of as many people as possible. So brand awareness is just view maximizing at that point. You want to get as many views as possible, eyeballs on brand, and that's it. And again, going back to what I said in that previous video, you've got the whole like dedicated video approach where less people will watch it, but they might be more interested in that brand. Or you have the integrations approach where you're making a video about a topic that more people will be interested in, but less people will be likely to buy and click because they're now watching a video about something else. But again, for brand awareness, more people are now going, oh, that's a brand that exists. That's now like in my head for future. And then there is also the direct like sale conversion stuff. And this is kind of where I went with this particular company that came to us, because like if they're wanting direct to like, we want to pay you money and directly convert sales, that is very much like a UGC kind of thing of like, well, hey, if you want to convert sales, you take the integration that we made and you go and take it and run ads behind it, because that's directly revenue generation. That's like the brand's spending money to then get money back because they're directly like running it, and they can split test it and run ads against demographics in different platforms and places, and they can run wild with that. But when it's just based on your own audience, it does tend to take, unless it's like the perfect, audience viewer fits, the offer is good, the landing page is good, unless like everything lines up, it's just not going to convert as well as being able to just put paid ad spend behind things. So, did that answer your question? I'm not sure it did. Hopefully it helped. But yeah, and you said like leads, webinar signups. Like again, it depends on the campaign goals. Like if you want people to sign up, it's always worth having lead gen. I always find this like lead gen could be click on this form, sign up for my newsletter, whatever it is. Like getting their email address is a key thing, particularly within business. So if you can push in your videos, push them towards, oh hey, I also have like this downloadable template that's related to whatever we've just talked about in the video. Just click on the link, download the free template, and that's all you need. Like you need to plumb your email address in, and that's it. And now you have that email address that you can then go and market to. But B2B is definitely B2B brands are definitely tougher to pitch, or at least in that IT industry, because they are so much newer to it. They're very, very late to game, and there's also a lot of videos or people doing the rounds on LinkedIn specifically, who are talking about like, part of their marketing strategy on LinkedIn, or part of their just personal strategy on LinkedIn, is like, here's all the stuff we're doing, much like I'm, doing here and sharing what we're doing. They're sharing what they're doing, but it's very much like hey, we ran a campaign on Instagram with, 50 creators. Here is the spreadsheet of all of the 50 creators with, names redacted, but it will show you like subscriber numbers, average view counts, number of conversions, how much they charged for things. And you can see that they're obviously splitting their spend across multiple creators. But then I just feel that all that's doing is encouraging like them to basically just find, we can get like 1 million views for way cheaper, because they're not charging as much as the guy that's got 10,000 views. And it's kind of like, the whole point not the whole point, but one of the reasons behind having this is to help people trying to like charge what they should be charging for brand deals, and they can like scale their businesses and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of people with like 1 million subscribers and 1 million followers or what have you that are charging like next to nothing, and they don't realize it. And there are brands that take advantage of that, and that's the very annoyingly frustrating thing about it. Cool. So that covered the second thing as well. Next on my list is my opinion on social media platforms. This cropped up because I listened to Marques Brownlee interviewed Adam. I can't remember his surname. He is the like the CEO, whatever, at Instagram. He's the guy that makes all the decisions about Instagram. And like the thing that crops up for me. So we're on YouTube. Pretty much that's like our main platform. And I don't really think much about Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or any of the other platforms, because it's for as a UK person, there's no incentive to go and grow a channel on those platforms. And this really like is what's the word? It's like counterintuitive, because as a UK person, they don't pay for content. So, when like the threads came out, and on Twitter, they were doing like, obviously like they're paying creators to post, and, the more views you get, then the more you earn. But it's like, it's US people only. So as a UK creator, like, why would I go and post on that platform when like I can post and earn zero, when a US person can post and earn like a load of money every month from posting the exact same stuff? Just because the monetization program is US creators only. And so that's like the first point. And then the second point is, because they're monetizing and paying people to do so, they're then encouraging people just to post clickbait stuff, because the clickbait stuff gets the engagement, it gets the comments, it gets the views. And therefore, like, my feeds are just full of clickbait content. Like, there's people that's being like, they'll pick up the latest phone that came out and like, this destroys the iPhone. But then the iPhone will come out the next week and they're like, this has just destroyed every Android phone that exists. And they're blatantly doing it just to get the clicks and views and, all that kind of stuff. But I guess it's no real different than YouTube, because that is very much like the platform again. Like, clickbait stuff performs well. But we've made a choice not to do that kind of content. We've made the choice to do like the good, I don't want to, good, my version of good content. But it's just because of that stops me then spending really any amount of time on the other platforms. Like, why invest any amount of time on those platforms when like the creators aren't treated fairly or treated the same? I think, like, if it was a level playing field, then fine. But purely because it's the whole like US creators get paid first and they get all the bonuses and incentives, that just means there's just little to no incentive for me. And therefore, like, my TikTok and Twitters and Instagrams are very, very small platforms compared to everybody else. Maybe I should focus on them more. But again, like, this is the whole thing about the more platforms there are, the more work there is to do, the more you have to figure out how the algorithm works on TikTok versus Instagram versus YouTube. And it's just a lot more work. And so currently that does mean my eggs are in the YouTube basket predominantly. Well, it's all in the YouTube basket. So if YouTube has a problem, then there's a problem. But that's also why we're looking at outsourcing a lot more things. So we've got like, the website's going at the moment. That's actually doing really well. We've got this podcast. We've got the newsletter, experimentsinprogress.com. So we have like multiple things that are kind of growing and building, but very, very slowly again, because they're very new to it. But yeah, that is my thoughts on platforms and monetization. So I would actually love to know, like, what platforms are you on and why? Like, do you get paid for posting on platforms? Do you get paid for TikTok? Do you get paid for Instagram? And where are you based? Like UK creator paid for Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. I don't think I think you can monetize Facebook in the UK. I don't think you can monetize, and you can monetize Instagram. I think if you're big enough on Instagram, and when I say monetize, I mean like paid by the the platform themselves and not brand deals, because that's always like completely separate. We've just posted a video to the channel. We've posted it onto Instagram, which was a sponsored collab, which I've earned nothing from the platform themselves, but the brand themselves have paid for that. Pay for that promotion. Um, and then the last one is the podcast format. I've had a lot of comments about it'll be really great to like interview people and bring other creators on. It's something I'm definitely thinking of because I feel like that would help bring in like other opinions and more questions. And but it'd be interesting where to take it. The main problem for me is that means I have to then get very organized, because the best thing about this is I can sit down at any point throughout the week. Sometimes it's an evening, sometimes it's the daytime. It's now like a Friday afternoon, it's lunchtime. Last week I shot it on Thursday, so it's all over the place with when I shoot this. So if I do invite people on, then it has to get, again, like we have to book things in. There's probably gonna be like regular time slots. It's finding time to do it. And but what I will say is, away next week in Prague, I probably will try and see if I can grab one or two people, maybe one person, just so it's a bit easier to have a conversation rather than like a group of people. But let me know who you would want to see on here. Like, are you looking for, as far as I'm concerned, like the big creators, like, the Mr. Who's the bosses and things, that level just feels a bit stupid. That's unobtainable. Like, there's no one's going to really care. Be interesting to know how they do things, and whether they'd even want to talk about like how much they charge for brand deals and those kind of things. I'd love to know like where the boundaries lie. Like, how much can you charge when you're that level? Getting like Tom the tech chap on, like how much does he charge for brand deal, and what's the biggest brand deal he's done, and what was it for? Without naming names and those kind of things. It'd be very cool to see where the monetary reward like jumps up certain levels. But then a lot of their advice won't be that applicable to the smaller creators, of course, because totally different world. So whether that's like people, obviously like a variation would be interesting. But yeah, let me know who you would like me to speak to, and what kind of channels. I guess maybe sticking in the tech niche because that's the niche we're in, or would you like to see other niches and or niches if you are interested in checking that stuff out as well. So I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. That was 32 minutes, not too shabby, and I'll see you in the next one.